Okay, here is this is a continuation, Riverside guys here, of the lecture on culture. The last thing we talked about, I think, was this big list of stuff here. We're going to get into some of this stuff now. Norms. When we talk about culture, any discussion of culture has to involve a discussion of norms. Rules and expectations by which a society guides the behaviors of its members. Now, norms are not laws. They're not really even rules. They're just they are rules, but they're more or less expectations. Again, they're not laws. These aren't things that you have to do. We could talk about norms associated with classroom behavior, for example, as opposed to norms associated with attending a funeral versus a sporting event. We know how we're supposed to act in, let's say, a classroom, or maybe, church service, for example. In a classroom, you're expected to be in class, to take notes. You expect the teacher to know what he or she is talking about, hopefully. You expect to take exams, to have homework. These aren't laws. This doesn't have to happen in a college classroom, but these are things that generally happen. Students are expected to raise their hand, to not speak, about conversations, trivial conversations that don't have anything to do with class. These are things that we expect. Now, sometimes norms are violated. Now, on the other hand, if you're going to a sporting event, the behaviors that are expected and associated with that event probably going to be a lot different. Screaming, hollering, cursing to some extent, yelling, screaming, all that stuff is considered to be appropriate at a college football game, for example. Or even a high school football game. You're allowed to kind of scream and yell and jump up and down and run back and forth. At a funeral, you would not be expected to jump up and down, to scream and to holler, and to have a good time, because it's different. I mean, the expectations are different. So we learn these as we are socialized to be members of our culture. We are socialized to understand what is appropriate and what is not appropriate behavior. Now, sanctions are rewards or punishments that encourage conformity to these norms. A sanction, we'll start with a positive sanction. A positive sanction is a reward. If we adhere to norms, if we follow the norms of society, we can be rewarded for that. I was always told that, Brandon, you should hold the door for a lady. That's the way I was raised. Some women don't want people to hold the door for them, and that's perfectly fine. And I remember growing up, I would hold the door for someone who was struggling, and I would get a thank you. That serves a positive sanction. You do what you're supposed to do. You kind of do what's expected, and you get rewarded for that. A negative sanction, sometimes you're punished if you do not adhere to norms of society. An example is skipping line at Walmart. I mean, it's not an unlawful behavior. You're not going to get arrested if you skip line at Walmart. However, you're probably going to get some kind of, or receive some kind of negative sanction for it. People are going to look at you. They're going to maybe even say something to you. They're going to get pretty upset, probably, because you violated a norm. Now, values and beliefs. Values are ideals or aspirations that we hold to be very important within society. Beliefs are things that we hold to be true. Let me see if I can explain this. Our beliefs come from our values. An example, within our American society, we value equality among men and women. At least we say we do. So, essentially here, most American... equality is a value, and from this value, most American citizens believe that a woman can be president, and that a woman can hold high-ranking positions in business and industry. So our beliefs come from our values, for sure. I know I put that slide up there, but we're not going to do this, so don't worry about that slide. I'll talk to you more about that. We may not even do that at this point. So, okay. And we'll go ahead and call that the end of this part here. Thank you.